Hello there. It's absolutely pointless obsessing about who's supporting who in this highly divisive Tory Party leadership election. Now, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and then like and comment below. Right now, the press has us hanging on every supporter or denigrator of the two main runners in this Tory leadership race, Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak, and neither has declared they're running yet. But it doesn't matter in the end. Here's my rough musings on this from earlier on today when I was out and about filming with Richard. Hello there. The Tory Party is in turmoil. Have you seen what's going on? They don't know whether it's going to be Rishi or it's going to be Boris. And forget about Penny Mordaunt, she's down in the weeds. This is getting terminal for the Tory Party. I can't see a way back for them at all. I mean, if Rishi Sunak gets in, it will split the party within, a month. And if Boris gets in, it will probably split the party within a week. I mean, they are in absolutely terrible territory. They're going to be wiped out at the next election, and I think that election is coming a lot sooner than people think. We might be there by spring next year, because if either Boris or Rishi gets into number 10, the other half of their party is going to be tearing into them. And if it's Boris, he'll have the Labour Party asking every other question is, how about this new Partygate revelation that's just come out? Because the number 10 staff that were there when Boris was there are saying they are going to spill the beans. And not only that, the Privileges Committee has also got so much ammunition, they reckon they can have him out well before Christmas. Things are really spicing up for the Tories, and there's no way back for them at all. Yes, as I see it, Boris and Rishi will probably get their 100 nominations or more in by 2 p.m. on Monday. That will then go, somehow, to the membership for a fast turnaround for a possible result by Friday. Sounds more like something Putin did in one of those referendums in occupied regions of Ukraine, doesn't it? Now, I can see Rishi getting the support of more MPs, but then Boris winning amongst the membership, just like the Liz Truss situation. But what if there's a low turnout amongst members due to the time frame involved, or if many think they've had enough of this mess and don't bother? What sort of mandate would that deliver for the new leader? To be honest, I think this is a Tory exercise of hanging on to the seats they've got in the hope that something will turn up and save them. And further, neither of the two front runners will solve the rubber dinghy problem, neither of them will solve the energy security problem, and neither of them will solve this Northern Ireland Protocol problem out properly. And there is now talk that if Jeremy Hunt stays in place as Chancellor, it will be the armed forces, as usual, that will be facing cuts to balance the nation's books. All that talk of beefed up defence will be gone. And we all know that the Remainers in the Tory Party would like to see weak UK defence, because that would, they think, force the UK into the European Union defence setup. Now, the Defence Secretary Ben Wallace has already hinted that these sorts of cuts would be a resigning matter for him. So we might see a heavyweight Defence Secretary go just when we need him most. Not clever. Anyway, just a cursory look around social media will show you that the Tory Party is riven. Not just MPs, but the whole party. And I'm not talking about the usual split before a vote, when all gets forgotten after the vote when democracy has taken place. No, this looks terminally deep, with all sorts of threats of MPs crossing the floor if Boris wins, and members cutting up their cards and leaving the party if Rishi wins. And whichever of them wins, the knives will be straight out for them. One half of the party will not be able to trust the other half. As I've said before, that 70-odd seat working majority will be of no use to them at all. The Tory backbenchers are more likely to threaten to use it against their new leader than use it for them. So it's all Labour's for the taking then, is it? Well, maybe. And now we come to Mission Impossible. Can Labour keep its mouth shut until the next election? Because they're not going to win it, the Tories are going to lose it. And the Labour Party could easily lose it by just opening their mouths. So can Angela Rayner keep it shut until the next general election, which, as I said, could be next year at this rate if the Tories continue to fall apart like this. So it's all down to Labour and their front bench. Stop talking, otherwise you won't win. And for the Tories, and for them, they want you to keep on blabbering, because you're bound to put your foot in it at some stage. Yes, Labour could still lose this, or at least end up in a coalition with the SNP, especially if they make known their socialist plans to borrow billions to nationalise everything that moves and take just about everyone onto the public payroll. Tax, borrow and spend. They'd be knocking on the doors of the IMF within a month. Although, to be honest, if they did start talking about unfunded borrowing to do all of this sort of stuff, then the financial markets would do to them what they did to Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng. But the ball is still in the Tory court for the time being, and it's down to them to play it to win. And there is still the third candidate, Penny Mordaunt. Now, I think she'll struggle to get the 100 nominations needed, but you never know. And remember, she is the first to declare her intent to run and has already put out a campaign video.
I've lived in Portsmouth all my life. It's a military city with a proud history. It's patriotic, it's passionate about football, it likes a pie and a pint, and quite frankly, so do I. Portsmouth has taught me a lot. As a child, I watched the Falklands Task Force sail from Portsmouth Harbour. It taught me that my country stands up to bullies. When I was 15, my mother died. From then on, I looked after my family. We relied on the NHS during that time, and I will never forget it. When we were short of money, I worked in factories and pubs. I know about the cost of living and how frightening it can be. My community has always helped me. It was natural that I wanted to help it in return. I joined the Conservative Party because I believed in its principles and its values. I fought as a candidate for 7 years before I overturned a Labour majority. I've increased my vote share at every election since. I've done some amazing things in my life. I've had a seat at the table at the World Bank and NATO. I've been to war zones and humanitarian hotspots. I owe it all to the people of Portsmouth and to this country as a whole. I draw my strength from the people I meet and the stories they tell. There are many people that think they know me, just like they think they know you. But ask yourself this: do they understand the life you live? Have they experienced it? Will they make that experience count? I have, and I will.
So that's her push. But will it gain her the support of enough MPs and the membership votes she needs? Anyway, now for another take on all of this. Over to you, Richard.
Thank you, Jeff, and good evening. I see the Bring Back Boris campaign may have borne some fruit as he takes the second position in this two-horse race. So the choice for PM is between a treacherous and obnoxious globalist, Rishi Sunak, or liberal lefty, Tory, whatever he is, Boris Johnson. And many are cheering the return of Boris, who was ousted by a Remainer coup orchestrated by shadowy figures in the background. But I, for one, won't be cheering the return of Boris Johnson, because I have something called a memory. Yes, I remember the Boris Johnson who said, "You must stay at home," for 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Yet we were imprisoned in our own homes for how long? And it then turned into 2 years to flatten the economy. I also remember the Boris Johnson who coerced people to undergo a medical procedure in order to work in certain sectors of the economy on the premise that the medical procedure would prevent people from spreading an illness, when evidence has now emerged that said medical intervention was not even tested for transmission. So that claim by Boris Johnson and his government was a lie. Yes, I remember. But he got Brexit done. No, not really. Well, okay, he sorted out the problem of illegal crossings. No, he didn't do that either. So why are so many people so keen for Boris to return? Especially seeing as he has apparently vowed to keep arch-Remainer Jeremy Hunt on as Chancellor. Well, nobody likes an unexpected coup. Not in this country, anyway. Especially when Boris won the last election so convincingly, and it just wasn't the done thing, old boy, turfing him out like that. No, the main reason people want Boris back is because every other Tory MP sitting in the House of Commons is either a dodgy globalist Remainer or completely useless, and both are incapable of defeating Labour. And Boris appears to be the only person who may save the Tory Party, but who in their right mind would want to save a party that cannot produce a better candidate for Prime Minister than Boris Johnson? And another thing, voting Tory just to keep Labour out is not a justifiable reason to vote Tory when they are now ideologically indistinguishable. We don't just need a new political party, we need the people of this country to stand up and vote with the courage of their convictions. You see, both the electorate and politicians have a joint responsibility to walk towards the vision and beliefs of the nation. Oh wait, we have tossed our moral compass over the cliffs of Dover. And as for a collective vision, well, let's just say the melting pot has melted away any vision. Anyway, back over to Jeff.
Thanks for your assessment on all of this, Richard. And finally, when subscribing, please don't forget to press that little bell and also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. And thank you all so much for taking the time to watch the show.